we are discussing it. So, free and fair election is required in a democratic country. When an election is to be held, that must be free and fair. There must not be any interference in the election. So, keeping this thing in mind, for the first time when election was introduced in India, for giving some some limited democracy, that is limited in the year 1920, limited participation in government was permitted by way of election of certain candidates, certain posts. So that is limited democratic process started by these Britishers. So in the year 1920, this chapter was included, that is inserted by Act 39 of 1920. So here, before discussing the provisions, we should know there are two definitions here. Section 117A defines who is a candidate and what is electoral right. Candidate means a person who stands in the election, but that is different. Means a person who has been nominated as a candidate at any election. Here, election is not confined only to this parliament or state legislative body. We have a People's Representation Act that act regulates the election to the parliament and state legislative assembly. But here, this election here, candidate means a person who has been nominated. Nominated means somebody, even very moment a person decides that you want to contest in an election, then he will be treated as nominated. Nominated as a candidate at an election, electoral right. Electoral right doesn't mean only casting vote. Electoral right includes what it says means the right of a person to stand or not to stand or withdraw from the candidature or vote or not to vote. These are all electoral rights. Bribery is in election offences. Three offences are serious in nature, that is bribery, undue influence and personation. These three types of offences are punishable with imprisonment and fine. What is bribery? That has been mentioned, that has been stated in section 171B. That means bribery, whoever gives a gratification to any person. What is that gratification? With the object of inducing him or any other person to exercise an electoral right. Not only give casting vote, but also exercising that electoral right to stand, not to stand, or withdraw from the candidature. All are whoever gives any gratification. Gratification doesn't mean money. Any comfort, gratification in terms in which has some value, even something, some comfort to a person, that will amount to gratification. Whoever gives any gratification, what is the gratification is given? With an object of inducing him. Any person is gratification is given. The object is to induce that person. What? Induce that person or any other person. Either he will induce any other person to exercise an electoral right or rewarding a person for having exercised any such right. If somebody has already cast his vote, if somebody did not stand in election, for that some gratification is given as reward. That is treated as bribery. Second, whoever accepts either for himself or for any other person any gratification, a person who accepts either for himself or any other person as any gratification, any is very important, any gratification or any other person or any gratification as a reward for exercising any such right or for inducing or attempting to induce any other person to exercise right. Inducing a person to exercise, or even if he has exercised that right, he accepts any reward. commit the offense of bribery. So what is bribery in election? Gratification is given by a person. Gratification, whoever giving gratification to a person, they inducing him to exercise his electoral right, either as a or reward. Second, accepting for himself, that will also be treated as gratification. That is bribery. Then, provided that a declaration of public policy or a promise of public action shall not be an offence under this section. When somebody declares a public policy, promises for public action, that will suppose a candidate promises to construct a bridge somewhere. That is a public, that will not be treated as gratification. A person who offers or agrees to give or offers or attempt to procure a gratification shall be deemed to give gratification. So giving gratification in subsection 1, whoever gives gratification. So that subsection 2 says, a person who offers or agrees to give or offers or attempt to procure a gratification. Even agreeing to receive this gratification, getting a gratification. A person who offering, the person who offers gratification, that will also be treated, deemed to have given gratification. That will be treated as bribery. A person who obtains or agrees to accept or attempts to obtain, when obtain and accept are two terms. Obtain means the person who gets, he has some effort. He has made some effort and thereby he gets. Then that we say obtain. Accepts, so much he accepts. A person who obtains or agrees to accept or attempts to obtain or gratification shall be deemed to accept a gratification. That will be deeming provision is there, that will be deemed to have accept gratification. And a person who accepts a gratification as a motive for doing what he does not intend to do, or as a reward for doing what he has not done, shall be deemed to have accepted the gratification as a reward. Undue influence. Undue influence in election. That is different from undue influence in the Contract Act. In the Contract Act, undue influence means whoever is in a position to dominate the will of another, and thereby he enters a contract with that person, then that is undue influence. But here undue influence something, interference in election. What he says, whoever voluntarily interferes or attempts to interfere with the free exercise of electoral right commit the offence of undue influence. Whoever voluntarily interferes or attempts to interfere, even attempting to interfere, that will be treated in any electoral right. Electoral right, that is not to cast vote, even to stand in election, withdraw from the candidature, or not to vote, all these things, or any electoral right coming on the offence undue influence in election. So here, without prejudice to the generality of the provision of subsection 1, subsection 1 says whoever interferes, intentionally interferes, attempt to interfere. So here, one in which, in the exercise of the electoral right, that will be treated as undue influence in election. But here subsection 2 is threatening any candidate, that will be treated as undue interference, or a voter, that will be treated as interference in election, or any person in whom a candidate or voter is interested. Suppose candidate's son is threatened, or wife is threatened, or a voter's son is threatened with injury of any kind, that will be treated as interference in election. What it says, without prejudice to the generality of the provision of subsection 1, whoever threatens any candidate or voter or any person in whom either the candidate or voter is interested with injury of any kind, or induces or attempts to induce a candidate or voter to believe, inducing a candidate or a voter to believe that he or any person in whom he is interested, either that person, the voter or candidate himself, or any person with whom that voter or candidate is interested, will become or will be rendered the object of divine displeasure or of a spiritual censure, that will also be treated, shall be deemed to interfere. If you will not cast vote, then God will do harm to you. Or you will be inducing that a person, obtaining, making somebody to promise to cast vote. So otherwise, he will be divine displeasure. He is subject to divine displeasure. that shall be deemed interference with the free exercise of electoral right of such candidate or voter within the meaning of subsection 1. The declaration of similarly a declaration of public policy or promise of a public action or the mere exercise of a legal right without intent to interfere. Somebody's legal right is in exercising his right. If thereby somebody's some interference takes place, then that will not be treated as this interference, shall not be deemed to be interference within meaning of this section. Now, personation of a candidate, personation of election. This is personation is not confined only a person who personates another person in election, but it also includes that if a person for the second time he goes to vote, that will be treated as personation in election. Even in the name of a fictitious person or in a dead person, if somebody casts a vote, that will be treated as personation. What it says, whoever at an election even applies for a voting paper, even simply applying for a voting paper, or votes in the name of any other person, who simply applies for a voting paper in the name of person, another person, or votes in the name of any other person, whether living or dead, or in a fictitious name. Either that person is living or dead. Fictitious name, there is no such person in the village, that is fictitious name. Or who having voted once at such election, applies at the same election for a voting paper in his own name. First he has cast his vote, then he again applied to cast vote in his name. And whoever abates, procures, or attempts to procure the voting by any person, abates any person to vote in the name of, in any such way means votes in the name of a fictitious person, in the name of a dead person, in the name of another person, commits the offence of personation at an election. Provided that nothing in this section shall apply to a person who has been authorized to vote as a proxy for an elector under any law for the time being in force, insofar as he votes as a proxy for such elector. Proxy voting is allowed. So if a person is a disabled person, then in such case he may take the help of another person. He will be treated as proxy voter. So that will not be treated as this personation. Punishment for bribery. Whoever commit the offence of bribery shall be punished with imprisonment of either description of a term which may extend to 1 year, or with fine, or with both. Then a provision is there, provided treating, that is bribery by treating shall be punished with fine only, not with imprisonment. What is treating? Treating means giving food or drink, entertainment or provision. That is treating. So if a person gives a feast or that means some drink, some wine, that will be treated as treating. So in such case, though it is a bribery, but it is punishable with fine only. Then punishment for undue influence or personation at an election, that is punishable. Both the offences are punishable as per section 171F. What is? It extends to 1 year with fine or with both. Whoever commits the offence of undue influence or personation at an election, either undue influence is done, interference, that is undue influence, personation, in the name of another person somebody cast his vote. So that is personation. Both the offences are punishable with imprisonment which may extend to 1 year, either description which may extend to 1 year, or with fine. False statement in connection with an election. Somebody gives a false statement. Whoever with intent to affect the result of an election, suppose affecting the result of an election, if somebody gives a false statement, imputing the character or conduct of a candidate, knowing that it is a false, that is called as giving false statement in election. Suppose a person is a candidate in a election. One person, he falsely makes a statement that he is a touter, or he has misappropriated government money, or he was involved in a rape case. These are false statements. So in such case, that if such statement is with an intention to affect the result of the election, then that is punishable. Whoever with intent to affect the result of an election makes or publishes any statement purporting to be a statement of fact which is false. Gives a statement, said to be a statement of fact which is false, and which he either knows or believes to be false, which is totally, that's a false, or which knows or believes to be a false, or does not believe to be true, or does not believe to be true in relation to the personal character or conduct of any candidate, in respect to personal character and conduct of a candidate, in order to influence the election, affect the result of the election. False statement is given, or that is knowing that it is false, or he doesn't believe it to be true, or knowing or believes that it's false, that is shall be punishable with fine only. Punished with fine. Then 179H, illegal payments in connection with an election. Whoever, without the general or special authority of the candidate, he incurs any expenditure on behalf of that candidate, then that is also punishable. But he can spend only up to 10 rupees. But if he has spent such money, then he will, within 10 days, he may take the approval of that candidate. Otherwise, that is punishable with fine, 500 rupees only. What it says? Whoever, without the general or special authority in writing of a candidate, the authority must be in writing of a candidate, incurs or authorizes expenses on account of the holding of any public meeting. He incurs expenditure on the holding of any public meeting, or upon any advertisement, in the advertisement, or circular, or publication, or in any other way, even pamphlet, etc., other way, whatsoever for the purpose of promoting or procuring the election of such candidate, shall be punished with fine, which may extend to 500 rupees. Provided that, if any person having incurred any such expenses, not exceeding amount of 10 rupees, within this is a redundant section now, because 10 rupees has no value, without authority obtains within 10 days from the date on which such expenses were incurred, the approval in writing of the candidate, he shall be deemed to have incurred such expenses with the authority of the candidate. Failure to keep election accounts, that is also fine, punishable with 500 rupees. Whoever, being required by any law for the time being in force, or any rule having the force of law, that is, if there is a law that the candidate should keep election accounts, if he has failed to keep that accounts, then accounts of the expenses incurred at the connection with an election, fails to keep such account, shall be punished with imprisonment, with fine, which may extend to 500 rupees. Not fine. These three two offences are punishable with fine only. Now let us discuss the provisions in chapter X of the Indian Penal Code of contempt of the lawful authority of public servant. What is contempt? What do you mean by contempt? Contempt means disregard of somebody, or disregarding the order of somebody, order of a public authority or a court. Not what is section 172 says, absconding to avoid service of summons or other proceedings. You are aware that when summons are issued, the person against whom the summons have been issued, he must receive it. But he absconds in order to avoiding, for the purpose of avoiding to receive summons or other proceeding. So that is punished. That will also be treated as a contempt of lawful authority. What it says? Whoever absconds in order to avoiding being served with a summons, notice, or other proceeding from any public servant legally competent as such public servant. If a person absconds, what for? In order to avoid the service of summons to him or notice to him, legally from a public servant who is legally competent as such public servant to issue such summons, notice or order, shall be punished with simple imprisonment for a term which may extend to 1 month, or with fine which may extend to 500 rupees, or with both. Or if the summons or notice or order is to attend in person by an agent, or to produce a document or an electronic record in a court of justice. If a summons has been issued, a notice has been issued, that is either that the person or by agent to appear before the court, with simple imprisonment for a term which may extend to 6 months. So far as public servant is concerned, police officer has given a notice. If somebody doesn't appear, then he may be punished with a fine up to 500, that is 1 month, and maybe extend to 500 rupees. But if it has been issued by a court of justice, then if that summons he absconds, or in order to avoiding service of summons issued by a court, then will be punished with simple imprisonment for a term which may extend to 6 months, or with fine which may extend to 1,000 rupees, or with both. Section 173. Preventing service of summons or other proceedings, or preventing publication thereof. Suppose whoever in any manner intentionally prevent the serving on himself, intentionally prevent. Here absconding and prevention is refusing, preventing. Whoever in any manner preventing the service of summons on himself or any other person of any summons, notice or order proceeding from any public servant legally competent as such public servant to issue summons, notice or order, or intentionally prevent the lawful affixing to any place of any such summons, notice, order. So you are aware that when persons against whom a summons has been is to be served, he is not found. The copy of this summons will be affixed in a conspicuous part of his house. If a person intentionally prevent the lawful affixing to any place any such summons, notice or order, or intentionally removes any such summons, suppose it has been affixed, thereafter it was intentionally removed, notice or order from any place to which the lawfully affixed, or intentionally prevent the lawful making of any proclamation. Suppose there is a proclamation is to be made by beat of drum, somebody intentionally prevents the proclamation under the authority of a public servant legally competent as such public servant to direct such proclamation to be made, shall be punished with simple imprisonment for a term which may extend to 1 month, or with fine which may extend to 500 rupees, or with both. So it is 1 month and 500 rupees, public servant. But here, if it is of a court, if the summons, notice, order, proclamation is to attend in person or by agent, or to produce a document, that always court issues a summons either to appear in person or through agent, or to produce a document or an electronic record in a court of justice, with simple imprisonment for a term which may extend to 6 months, or with fine which may extend to 1,000 rupees, or with both. Section 174. Non-attendance in obedience to an order from public servant. Some public servants, they are authorized by law to issue notice to a private person to appear before him for the purpose of inquiry, etc. Whoever being legally bound to attend in person or by an agent at a certain place, legally bound to attend either in person or by agent in a certain place and time, in obedience to summons, notice, order, or proclamation. A person is legally bound to either attend personally or through agent in obedience to any summons, notice, order, or proclamation in proceeding from any public servant legally competent as such public servant to issue the same, and intentionally omits to attend. Is legally bound to attend, but intentionally omits to attend at that place or time, or departs from the place where he is bound to attend before the time at which it lawful to him. Even if he has attended that place, but departs, leaves that place before the time at which it is lawful for him to depart, shall be punished with simple imprisonment for a term which may extend to 1 month, or with fine which may extend to 500 rupees, or with both. Similarly, if the summons, notice, order, or proclamation is to attend in person or in agent in a court of justice, then that will be more punishment with simple imprisonment for a term which may extend to 6 months, or with fine which may extend to 1,000 rupees, or with both. 174. Now, 174A, non-appearance in response to a proclamation under section 82 of Act 2 of 1974. If a person doesn't appear in spite of proclamation, then that is under his property will be attached as per section 83 of the CRPC. But here section 174A that has been included in this Indian Penal Code in the year 2005. What it provides? Whoever fails to appear at the specified place and the specified time as required by the proclamation published under section 82 of the Criminal Procedure Code shall be punished with imprisonment for a term which may extend to 3 years. Previously, such a punishment was not there. Now it has been included in the Indian Penal Code as 174A, that if a person against whom a proclamation has been issued as per section 82. When proclamation will be issued? Previously we have discussed that against whom a non-bail warrant has been issued, and in spite of that warrant he is avoiding, and in such case he is concealing himself so that the warrant cannot be executed. In such case, the court can issue a proclamation requiring that person to appear before the court. How that proclamation is to be made, we have already discussed. That is to be publicly read in a place where he was residing. A copy of such proclamation will be affixed in the place, in the house where he was residing, or in a town or village where he was residing, and in a courthouse. So these are proclamations, or in by publication in a newspaper, if the court thinks fit. So in spite of such proclamation, if somebody doesn't appear, whoever fails to appear, your intention is not there. If he fails to appear, then he may be punished with imprisonment, which may extend to 3 years, or with fine, or with both. And where a declaration has been made under subsection 4 of that section pronouncing him as a proclaimed offender, when a person will be declared as proclaimed offender, when he is involved in a heinous offences like murder, dacoity, rape, etc., that is proclaimed offender, he shall be punished with imprisonment for a term which may extend to 7 years, and shall also be liable to fine. Section 175. Omission to produce document or electronic records are public servant by person legally bound to produce. So suppose a summons has been issued, a person is legally bound to produce document, but whoever being legally bound to produce or deliver of any document or electronic record to any public servant, legally bound to produce a public servant, intentionally omits so to produce or deliver of the same. Intention is there. If that document is not with him, that is not intentionally. Intentionally omits so to produce or deliver of the same shall be punished with imprisonment for a term which may extend to 1 month, or with fine which may extend to 500 rupees with both. Or if the document or electronic records is to be produced or delivered up to a court of justice, that document etc. will be delivered to a court of justice with imprisonment term which may extend to 6 months, or with fine which may extend to 1,000 rupees, or with both. 176. Omission to give notice or information to public servant by person legally bound to give it. You are aware that as per the Criminal Procedure Code, some information must be given by the public to the police. So if he omits to give some information, then that is punishable under section 176. Whoever being legally bound to give any notice or furnish any information on any subject to any public servant, legally bound to give any information or any notice to any public servant as such, intentionally omits to give such, intention is there, intentionally omits to give such notice or furnish such information in the manner and at the time required by law, and the manner and the time required by law, shall be punished with imprisonment for a term which may extend to 1 month, or with fine which may extend to 500 rupees, or with both. If the notice or information required to be given respect the commission or offence, previously we have discussed, that is in the Criminal Procedure Code, when there is a commission, a village head man, even a public member of the public has a duty to give information regarding when there is a possibility of commission of a cognizable offence. So if the notice or information are required to be given respect to commission of offence, or is required for the purpose of preventing the commission of offence, either offence, commission of an offence, or preventing the commission of offence, or in order to the apprehension of an offender, information apprehension offender, with imprisonment for a term which may extend to 6 months, or with fine which may extend to 1,000 rupees, or with both. If the notice or information required to be given is required by an order passed under subsection 1 of section 506 of the 65 of the code, this is 1898, it is no more in force, then that is with imprisonment of either description for a term which may extend 6 months. That is, if any information is to be given to the police or any public servant as per the provisions of the Criminal Procedure Code, then that is to be punished with which may extend to 6 months, or with fine which may extend to 1,000 rupees. furnishing false information. Sometimes a false information is given. Whoever being legally bound to furnish information on any subject to any public servant, a person is always legally bound. Law requires that somebody will give an information to public servant, and he is legally bound to. As such, furnishes as true information on the subject which knows or has reason to believe to be false. He gives an information knowing that it is false or we believe to be false, shall be punished with simple imprisonment for a term which may extend to 6 months or with fine which may extend to 1,000 rupees. If the information which is legally bound to give respect the commission of offence or is required for the purpose of preventing the commission of offence or in order to the apprehension of an offender, regarding commission of offence, preventing the commission of offence, or regarding the apprehension of offender, if such false information is given, then that is punishable with simple imprisonment, either description, for a term which may extend to 2 years, or with fine, or with both. Now, illustration will make you clear what the illustration says. A landholder, knowing of the commission of a murder within the limits of his estate, that is land, willfully misinforms the magistrate of the district that the death had occurred by accident and consequence of the bite of a snake. A is guilty of the offence defined in this section. Second, a village watchman, knowing that a considerable body of strangers has passed through his village in order to a commission of dacoity in the house of Jade, a wealthy merchant residing in a neighboring place, and being bound under clause 5 of the section 8 regulation 3 of the Bengal Code to give yearly and punctual information of the above fact to the officer of the nearby police station, willfully misinforms the police officer that the body of suspicious character passed through the village with a view to commit dacoity in a certain distant place or a different direction. Here A is guilty of the offence defined in the latter part of this section. The explanation says, in section 176 and in this section the word offence includes any act committed and any place out of India, which if committed in India would be punishable under any of the following sections. That will be treated as offence even if it is committed beyond India, if that is punishable under section 302, 304, 382, 392, 393, 394, dacoity, etc. 396, 397, 398, 399, 402, 435, 436, 449, 450, 457, 458, 459, and 460. And the word offender includes any person who is alleged to have been guilty of any such offence. Then section 178, refusing oath or affirmation when duly required by public servant. Suppose a person is required to take oath and to say something. He refuses to take oath, either in court or before a public servant. Whoever refuses to bind himself by an oath or affirmation to state the truth, who refuses to bind himself by oath to state the truth, or when required so to bind himself by a public servant legally competent to require that he shall so bind himself, and a public servant requires him to state something on oath, he refuses. Whoever refuses to take oath shall be punished with simple imprisonment for a term which may extend to. That means whoever refuses to bind himself by oath, that means he refuses to take oath and to take something, the truth. So in that is punishable, which may extend to 6 months, or with fine, which may extend to 1,000 rupees, or with both. 179, refusing to answer public servant authorized to question. Suppose a public servant, whoever being legally bound to state the truth on any subject to any public servant, a person legally bound to tell any truth subject to person refuses to answer any question demanded for him touching that subject by such public servant, legally bound to say about such subject, servant in the exercise of legal power of such public servant shall be punished with imprisonment, simple imprisonment which may term extend to 6 months, or with fine which may extend to 1,000 rupees. refusing to sign statement. Suppose the police officer or any public servant who is required by law to take somebody's signature, he refuses. Whoever refuses to sign any statement made by him, if he has given any statement, if he is required to sign it, he refuses to sign, or when required to sign that statement by a public servant, legally competent to require that he shall sign that statement. If legally competent, the public servant is legally competent to ask him to take his signature in the statement which he gives, shall be punished with imprisonment for a term which may extend to 3 months, or with fine which may extend to 500 rupees, or with both. 181. False statement on oath or affirmation to public servant or person authorized to administer an oath or affirmation. Sometimes one false statement is given on oath. So in such case, that is punishable under section 181. Whoever being legally bound by an oath or affirmation to state the truth. If a person is legally bound by law, by an oath or affirmation to state the truth, on any subject to any public servant, on any subject to public servant, only public servant or other person authorized by law to administer such oath or affirmation, makes to such public servant or other person as aforesaid, touching that subject, any statement which is false, it tells in falsely states an oath, and which he either knows or believes to be false, or does not believe to be true, shall be punished with imprisonment for either disgrace for a term which may extend to 3 years, and shall also be liable to fine. But whoever being legally bound by any oath or affirmation to state the truth on any subject to public servant or other persons authorized by law to administer such oath. A person who is authorized to administer such oath is bound to tell. But if somebody voluntarily makes a statement before a notary public, that is not applicable here under section 181. Legally bound. The person is legally bound by an oath to state the truth on any subject to any public servant. He is bound to tell something to the public servant or other person authorized by law to administer such oath to such public servant. Then public servant, that is punishable with 3 years. 182. False information with intent to cause public servant to use his lawful power to the injury of another person. Whoever gives to any public servant any information, falsely an information is given to the police that somebody has committed, somebody is, so in such case, he will exercise his power. That is a person, that is punishable under section 182. Whoever gives to any public servant any information which he knows or believes to be false. Any information is to a public servant, knowing or he believes to be false, intending thereby to cause or knowing that it will be likely that he will thereby cause such public servant, intending such public servant shall to do or omit anything which such public servant ought not to do something, or omit to do something which that public servant is ought not to do, or omit if the true state of facts respecting which such information is given were known by him, or to use the lawful power of such public servant. Whoever gives a false state information, any information which he knows or believes to be false, with an intention, intending that such public servant, knowing it to be like that he will thereby cause such public servant to use the lawful power of such public servant to the injury or annoyance to the person, shall be punished with imprisonment of either disgrace or a term which may extend to 6 months, or with fine which may extend to 1,000 rupees. Illustration: A informs the magistrate that Z, a police officer subordinate to such magistrate, has been guilty of neglect of duty or misconduct, knowing such information to be false, and knowing it to be likely that the information will cause the magistrate to dismiss Z, he has committed the offence defined in this section. Previously, that is during British period, a magistrate had power to dismiss a police officer. A falsely informs a public servant that Z has contraband salt in a secret place, knowing such information to be false. Suppose a person gives a false information to an excise officer that somebody is in possession of ganja. That's a false information, knowing that the excise officer will exercise his lawful power as a public servant to the injury of annoyance of any person. Then this section 182 is attracted. A falsely informed the public servant that Z has contraband salt in a secret place, knowing such information to be false, and knowing that it is likely that the consequence of the information will be searched, objects, premises, attended with enhanced with, if that house will be searched, there will be enhanced with it. He has committed the offense defined in this section. A falsely informs a policeman that he has been assaulted and robbed in the neighborhood of a particular village. Somebody goes to the police station, gives a false information that another person this assaulted him and committed robbery. He does not mention the name of any person as one of his assailants, but he did not mention the name, but knows it to be likely that in consequence of this information, he did not mention the name of any person, but he knows that in consequence of such information, the police will take action, will make inquiries and institute searches in the village to the annoyance of the villagers or some of them. He has committed an offense under this section. 183. Resistance to the taking of property by the lawful authority of a public servant. Suppose a public servant is seizing a property and taking it, and somebody is resisting. That is punishable under section 183. Whoever offers any resistance to the taking of any property, whoever offers any resistance to the taking of any property, that is by the lawful authority of any public servant. A lawful authority of a public servant is taking any property, then knowing or having reason to believe that such public servant shall be punished, knowingly is resisting, then taking that public authority servant has authority to take that property, but he is resisting, shall be punished with imprisonment either discretion for a term, which may extend to 6 months, or with fine, which may extend to 1,000 rupees. 184. Obstructing sale of property offered for sale by authority of a public servant. Sometimes public servant conducts auction sale by exercising his power. See, if somebody knowing that the authority of the public servant intentionally obstructs any sale of property offered for sale by the lawful authority of any public servant, as such, shall be punished with imprisonment either discretion for a term, which may extend to 1 month, or with fine, which may extend to 500 rupees. So, up to 184 we covered today. In the next class, we'll discuss the remaining provisions. Thank you all.